Hello, my name is David Webb and this is a video for Dweebovision. I am a Scrabble grandmaster and in this video I am going to play Scrabble while providing in-game commentary on my moves. Hopefully this will help to improve your game and be fun to watch. The game has just started, so let's join the action. It's me to go first. I have scoring, so quite fortunate to have a bingo on my opening rack. That only happens one rack in every 7 or 8 games. £76 points. Now, I don't have a bingo with this rack, but I've got 4 high-scoring tiles and I've got a couple of vowels, so I should be able to score well and leave a reasonable rack leave. I'm looking to play off 3 of the high-scoring tiles if possible, and my preference would be the F, the K and the Y. Certainly the F and the Y. The P and the K have some synergy. I could play Phi down here. 26 points. That's not bad. Or Flaky across here. 31 points, that's a better score. Rack leaves slightly vowel heavy, but since the vowel is an E, that's not as bad as it would be with any other vowel. Well, I've drawn 3 vowels to go with the 2 I've kept, so this is now a pretty unbalanced rack. Onto an A I would have Yoop near. I'm certainly looking to play off a whole bunch of vowels if I can. Okay, my opponent has vowels as well. Now, I think the difficulty with this rack is going to be scoring. I do have a 70-point lead. I'd like to try and score as well as resolve the problems with this rack. And I certainly want to play off the U and one of the E's. So how am I going to do that? Well, not very easily. I'm looking to see if I can play down from the F of Flaky and I can't see anything. Now what about playing onto the S of scoring? That would take out a useful line for my opponent. But a word like opens isn't going to score very well, and it's going to leave 3 vowels. Euro or Rue have been blocked by the Y of Flaky. Well, I can play Uja down here. The score's dismal, but the rack leave is good. And this looks a lot better. It looks like it's pretty close to a 7-letter bingo. Now if there is one there, it's pretty high probability, and I will have studied it. But nothing's coming to mind. I've got the OUS ending and I've got the UN prefix. Aerosats, that's fine. Now, my opponent has provided a whole bunch of floaters. Do any of them help me? Pruinos is good. Great. I've got something through the R of Aerosats. That's not an easy bingo to see. Unfortunately, it's not doubled. Do I have anything through any of the vowels in Aerosats? Can't see anything through the A. or the E or the O. Okay, well there may be a better bingo, but I can't see it. I don't think Pruinos has got an anagram. Now this is, well, looks like a non-bingo-y rack. Pretty sure there isn't a 7. Could be an 8. But the high-scoring tiles go really well together. So chaw is good, whip is good. So I shouldn't have any difficulty scoring well and improving this rack. Well, my opponent's taken a spot I was looking at, but there's a pretty good spot down here. Now I could play Wish for more points, but the CH has got quite a lot of synergy. So I'm sacrificing, well, 36 for Wisp, 42, so I'm sacrificing 6 points. Do I want to do that? Well, I think the P has some synergy, goes well with the L. Think I will take the points. And Wish does take an A on the end, so I could score 3 more points, but I like keeping an A with the 3 consonants. And this isn't good. The consonants I have lack synergy. Now I may be able to use the A hook for Wish. I don't think it takes a T hook, but I'm not sure. Gel cap is good as a 6-letter word. I don't know if there's a good spot to play that. Now the C, the G and the P. Okay, there go both blanks. My opponent is now only 16 points behind me. He's provided a floating N and G. Nowhere to play gel cap. I'm wondering if I can play through the I of driving down onto the triple word square. Well, I could play Plikey, but that would leave GT. Not a very good leave. Could play Pical, leaving Get, which is a little bit better. It would be nice to play off the G. Not a particularly useful tile. Only 3 I's left. And in any event, ing words don't happen that often. There's a whole bunch of E's left, so I don't need to sacrifice points to hang on to the one that I have. I'm looking at D1 across to D4. I could put my P at D4 or my G. Then I'd be looking at a word with AO or EO. Okay, I can't see anything good there. Let me see what Pical scores. $27 points. I could make it epical for 30 points. That's a decent score, and there's a lot of vowels unseen. This, I don't think, is a bingo-y rack, but it's nice to have the Y when you've got a non-bingo-y rack because it's a good scoring tile. I need to be sure that I don't have a bingo. There is the floating L of epical, so I've got the ILY or the LY ending. And there's the N of driving, which looks quite useful. So I do have an the ing suffix. Yep, I do not have a bingo through that N. Now I'm looking at F2 where my Y could go, but I certainly want to play off one of the T's, and it would be nice to play off the G as well. TIG is a valid word, T-Y-G. The rack leave A-E-I-T is vowel heavy, and there are a lot of vowels to come, especially A's and E's. So I'd like to play something a little bit more balanced than that. Maybe I can play an ing word through the N of driving and resolve the rack. Play of tying comes to mind. That would leave A-E-T. Slightly vowel heavy, but not very much. Trouble with that move is that it's only 18 points. It would be good to score more points. I got gaiety as a 6-letter word, which would leave a T. Beam, that takes a Y after it, which I've got. So I could play gaiety down from F14, but that opens up the triple word square at H15. I don't think the points that it would score would justify doing that. Well, I'm not awash with ideas on this rack. I've got 12 minutes left. There are 30 tiles unseen, or 30 tiles in the bag rather, 7 on my opponent's rack. And I've got a lead of 20 points, which is slender. I'm looking again at D1 across to D4. I could end up with a T or a G on D4. Okay, can't see anything there. I'm thinking about gaiety. Just feels like it's slightly too open. And I don't like the G. It would be so good to get rid of that. I thought this would be a fairly straightforward rack to resolve because the Y is a good scoring tile. But it's not proving to be the case. I'm looking around for other spots where my Y can play. I certainly have to play off one of the T's. There are 2 unseen. Well, what about playing Yeti down here? A lot of E's unseen. I am retaining the G, but it's fairly balanced in terms of vowels and constants, and there's a degree of synergy between these tiles. There's certainly no dyssynergy. And 26 points is a good score. I am opening up the possibility of my opponent scoring well from L15 down to O15. He could place an F or an H at L15, but there's only 2 of those left. Well, would it be better to play Yite? Because then it's pretty much only the F which can go after the I. This looks pretty good. I have a gential through the E of Uja. Does that have an anagram? Alginate is an anagram. Alginate, a gential. Okay. Well, hopefully that will stay available. I'm not sure about alating. Think that might be good. But I can't see anywhere to play that. I've got the floaters in epical, the A and the L, but they duplicate or triplicate tiles on my rack. So I probably don't have a bingo through one of those. So a genteel is the bingo that I've seen. I've got the anti-prefix, but my remaining tiles are lag. I've got wagtail as a non-bingo through the W of wish. Well, I'm hoping that my opponent will be drawn to O15, leaving a genteel available. What else is there? Great. I feel there may be other bingos that I haven't spotted on this rack. But this is a pretty key time to get a bingo. I have a slight doubt about this word. It doesn't look quite right. Let's see if it stays on the board. I hope it does. It scores well. And I draw the J and the X, which are good scoring tiles, and I have 3 vowels to go with them. Jaxie is good, Jaxie, so I could play that in column 13. I suspect there are better opportunities available. I have a 90-point lead, which is pretty good. There's only 15 tiles in the bag. The game isn't won, but I'm creeping towards the finish line. I'm looking to place my J at F2. Unfortunately, I can't play Joe because Ot isn't good, and I don't have an A for jar. Otherwise, that would have been a 50-point power play. I'm also looking at D1 again to see if I can place my J there. G-on is good. Fabulous. How much does that score? 46 points. That's good. And that would leave me with IOTX, which is a pretty strong leave. And my X, for example, I can play Ox at G12, making Ox Axe and IO for another 40-point play on my next move. So this is looking pretty good. Ooh, my G-on spot has been taken. Okay. Well, that's disappointing. I wasn't expecting my opponent to go there. This is quite a wide open board. So plenty of opportunities available. Now BA takes an O in front. So I could play Oxen at F1 down. $38 points, leaving JIT. That's not a strong leave. I'd much rather play off my J and keep the X back. Well, I'm struggling to see places where my J can play. But there must be some good spots. I could play joint at D12 down. 26 points. I feel that I'm missing stuff with this rack. Now what about the triple letter squares in row N? Oh well, this is pretty good. Still 3 E's unseen, and in any event the X goes well with the I and the O. 27 points. I'm keeping the O back as well for F1, and it is the only remaining O. BA does take an A after it, so it's not a selfish hook. But it's good to have options. Now, Is Gene better than Oxen? 38 versus 27. I'm sacrificing 11 points. No, I don't think it is. I think this is a wide open board. I think I can score with the J. If in doubt, go for the points. I draw the Q. There is a U unseen. I've got an I for playing Chi, so I can play Chi at B5 for 28 points. That's pretty good. And I can also play Chi at E12 for fewer points. £34 points for my opponent. He is over 70 behind, which is good. 5 tiles left. And this is a pretty good rack leave. I should be able to play off my J next go, or I'm sure I will. Am I missing a better spot for my Q? I've got just under 6 minutes left, so I'm not in any time trouble. Now Chi also takes an N after it, so I need to look around for any floating N's to play Chin. But I can't see a way of scoring well. Yeah, I think that's fine. V, not a good pickup. I could play Jive or Jiver in column 12, but that won't get doubled or tripled. I've got Jeet at N6 for about 28 points, 27 points. Now I do have the R for going after, well I was going to say going after Fudge, but I don't think Fudger is good. So I'm certainly not going to risk it. Well, my opponent has again taken the spot I was going to go with my J. Javel is good. I could play that in column 13. 20 points. There's 1 tile left. Not a particularly bingo-y selection. I don't have to play off the V with the J. They're both good scoring tiles. Ah, this is nice. Look at this. £34 points, and J is a good scoring tile to keep. Now I don't think I can go out in 1, but I'm over 100 points ahead, so victory is assured. My opponent has got F, M, W and U, none of which are particularly bingo-y tiles. Ads takes an E after it. So I'm looking to see if I can play through the EN in column 11 and play the J off, but I can't see a way of doing that. With a T I could have played Jeanette. So what can I do with my J? I can play JEE and row E, making EA as well. 22 points. I can play Jew at A6. 23 points. I could play Jewel in the same spot. That's a little bit better. 25 points. I'm not seeing a huge number of other opportunities. My opponent's got over 10 minutes on his clock. But even if he bingos, he will not win. Actually, if he bingos, he might win, but he's not going to bingo. Just looking at the letters on my rack, G is good and Geel is also good. I'm looking around to see if there's anything I haven't considered. Ag in column 12 takes J in front, but I can't see any play apart from just playing Jag, which isn't scoring very much. It's the floaters in a gentile which look the most promising, but I just can't see high scoring plays through them. Gel is good, so I could play that onto the L of a gentile. I could also play Gel in the same spot. Jete is good. Now I could play that in column 11, 22 points. Okay, now my opponent's taken a while to make his move. I think I've exhausted all the possibilities I can think of. What I'm going to do is pause and I'll restart when he makes his move. Well, my opponent took about another 30 seconds to make his move. I haven't seen anything better than Duel. My opponent's got Swum on his rack, and I've just provided an opportunity for him to play Swum and Duels, but he could also have played Swum and Fudges. It's not a howling error. Okay. Pass to end the game. And the final score is 383 to my opponent, 462 to me, a winning margin of 79 points. Let's see what I missed. It was me to go first, and scoring was the only bingo. Skeely for 53 points. Well, I didn't spot that running down parallel to Coty. That would certainly have been preferable to my 31 for Flaky. This was a really troublesome rack. Peonies, quite an obscure 6-letter word, since peonies without the S is not a valid 5. Yeah, all of those plays pretty low scoring and pretty problematic rack leaves. Having said that, I'm not sure that Yuja is better than the alternatives. Nice bingo by my opponent, Aerosats, and I was fortunate to spot, or grateful for spotting Pruinos. It's a high probability word, but it's a word I struggle to see. Wash a day 8. Well, I played Wish. I think there's very little between those. Bingo by my opponent. Now A2, Rappel, I didn't consider that coming down parallel to Aerosats. Multiple overlap words are often quite hard for a human to spot. And this is where I played Epical, which looks reasonable. This was a tough rack, and you can see just by looking down the rack leaves of the suggested moves that how tricky it is. Because although your move is, you're looking at the combination of score and rack leave, it's pretty rare that you're looking at a poor rack leave as the optimal play. Now this is where I played Yite. Yeah, I think the rack leave's fine for that. And I have a bingo, a gentile. And this is what rack leave is all about. It's about maximising your chances of bingoing in subsequent turns. Well, that looked a pretty good rack for my opponent. Did he have a bingo? No, he didn't. Jinx for 45 and next for 50. Okay, it looks like I missed stuff on this rack. So, B7, Jinx running along the top of Pruinos. Yep, that would have been pretty good, 45. Next at L15. Ooh, down parallel to Yite. Certainly should have spotted that. So, what did I do? Oxen for 38, yeah, definitely inferior to many of the plays suggested. Chi for 28, that was my play. And Vrot for 34, I think that looks best, so I was glad to spot that difficult word and obscure position. And Jewel, well, that was my play. The only way that wouldn't have been, well, I was going to say the way that wouldn't have been optimal is if there was only one spot for my opponent to go out and I failed to block it. But looking at the board, in addition to the move he actually played, he could have played Weymouth through the A of a Gentile. So I couldn't have stopped him from going out, in which case Jewel, I think, looks like it was best. So a pretty comfortable win in the end and an enjoyable game. So I hope you enjoyed hearing about the thought processes that I was going through as I struggled to find the winningest move, and that you enjoyed watching the video. My name is David Webb, and this has been a video for Dweebovision.